All right. So, but no, I'm here with Faith. She is the assistant youth pastor's fiance, and I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about today. I want to talk to you. Golly, I can't speak. Jesus Christ, it's gonna be edited out. But I have a few questions that I want to ask you today. But first, before we get into that, tell us a little bit about who you are.
My name is Faith Cooper, and I'm 20 years old, and I live in Tipton County, Tennessee. Um, and I've been going to Connect Church for 2 years, maybe now. And yeah,
What do you do for a job?
I work at Mary Maid's and I clean houses.
Okay. All right. So, so the first question I want to get into when you talked about coming to Connect, where did you did you go to a church before Connect? And if so, what made you come here?
So after a lot of stuff happened in my life, I stopped going to church. I was raised in a Catholic church, and then when me and Zach got together, um, Sarah came in the picture and was like, "Hey, we got a thing going on for our church, and it's an event." So we went, and then that's when we started coming to church here.
Okay, so you coming here came from like an invite.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, that's interesting. It is. So I came prepared this time. I got some notes. That had your wonderful future husband write me. But I have some of my own as well. I did come prepared for that. All right. Uh, okay. Talk to us a little bit about how it was growing up in your household. Basically, tell us your life.
Okay. So when my mom and dad met each other, here came Faith in the picture. I was born, and then when I was 2 years old, my mom left, went to Nevada. She had some certain reasons she wanted to go there. Um, and then a whole thing was figured out where my mom got me every other weekend. And then my stepmom came in the picture when I was 2 years old and my mom left. Then my dad and my stepmom got together. Uh, um, and then when my mom came back, another step parent came in the picture. And then my mom got custody of me when I was 14 years old because my dad went on his own little railroad trek and not some good ways. And then we had a lot of bumpy roads. And then meanwhile of all this, I was in a terrible relationship. I was in an abusive relationship, and then I got with Zach. Um, and then 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, my mom kicked me out. So yeah, that's how my life was.
Okay. So so diving into that, right? How was it? Because not a lot of people have experienced that, like what you start off at the beginning with, of not having your mom there
Mhm.
for a certain period of time,
Mhm.
and then not having your dad in the picture for a certain period of time. So how did that affect you growing up, and how are you coping with it now?
Oh boy. Okay. So when my mom left the picture, I was kind of way too young to understand what was going on. And then when I got older, and my mom eventually did come back, she she had her own kind of ways to do her own things. A lot of button heads between all four parents. They never really got along, so it was hard because you had to wonder, well, am I going to this parent's house for that weekend? I want to go to my mom's house, but they're into it. Does that mean and it's going to determine my weekend? Um, then just kind of went from there. It Now I'm coping with it with humor. I don't have a way to cope with it now because I don't know how to cope with it because it still affects me
Mhm.
because I have not forgiven my mother yet and I have not forgiven my father yet. I still love them both, but I'm gonna love them both in a distance, especially my mom as of right now and probably for a very good long time. That's just some things in me, and that's for respect out of myself and respect for my fiance and respect for my future. And, just me and my mental state can't, you know. And so I don't have a way to cope with it right now. I just cope with it with humor.
Okay. So a little backstory for the people who are watching. I'm just a nobody to her. I'm joking. Uh, I'm her youth pastor, but more importantly than that, we're friends,
Yep.
right? Uh,
Kind
from the God,
of.
from the past couple months that I've been here and just growing a relationship with you, Zach, and just every other kid that comes here and young adult, there's been a relationship established in its own way. So I want to let y'all know that first, that she's not just sitting here telling me stuff that I don't know already. But the thing I want to get into a little bit is going off of that. Why is it okay? Before I get into that question, I'm gonna go off of this other one. Okay, so with everything that you just said, did you have any ways of escaping? What? So do you know do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, kind
Okay.
of, I guess. Um, so my ways of escaping the reality of all that, um, I didn't have, I was a very lonely child. I had no friends, the person who wanted to fit in because I didn't have this or I didn't have that. Um, it was mainly going to my grandma's house and just hanging out with her because I knew every Saturday we were going to go shopping and then we were going to go swimming. That was my escape. Um, and then, my mom bribed me with, well, if you do this correctly, you can go on a cruise with us. Or if you do this, we're going to go to Disneyland. And, it's me and my mom, we didn't have the mother daughter relationship like I do with my stepmom. And it sounds crazy because me and my stepmom didn't have a good relationship either when I was younger for the simple fact of, I mean, I wasn't her blood child, She didn't like my mom. A lot of people don't like me because of my mom, so it affects a lot of things. Um, but that was like my ways of escaping was going to my granny Kim's house. Um, now I just kind of again humor. That's how I escape it, or I just sit there and just listen to music. So yeah.
So basically, like you were talking about with like when I talked about escaping, you said that you went to your grandma's,
Mhm.
right? That you knew every time you went over there, you were looking forward to doing something interesting,
Yep.
going shopping, going swimming, and then your mom steps in with, well, hey, do this, and you can come, on a cruise with us,
Mm.
right? So at what age was that when she was telling you this? Because your mindset probably at that time was like, I get to go on a cruise.
I was probably it was a couple years way before my mom even got custody of me. I was probably like not even 13 yet. I was, younger.
Mhm.
And it was the well, if you do good in this, my rich grandma, she lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that's, like I said in the beginning, that's where my mom went to. Um, my rich grandma was the one doing these cruises and stuff with us, but she was looking at it as a reward. Whereas my mom was looking at it as, well, why don't you do this with us since you don't do this with your dad and stepmom? And me personally, I don't like the money title of, well, let's go do this, let's go do that, because the little things are better. Like the airplane show we have in Tipton County, we have all those. That's the stuff I remember my dad just taking us to go on random trips to putt and all this stuff. I wasn't a spoiled kid. I wasn't the type that needed this or wanted that. And it was just, my grandma made it simple, plain, sweet, simple. So did my dad and my stepmom. My mom, it was bribing, basically.
Mm, okay. Okay. So to travel back a little bit on what I was gonna ask, when you were talking about, forgiving them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And me and you
Mm-hmm.
have had that conversation before, with Zach being included. Uh, he's doing some funny stuff behind the camera, but the thing that I will ask, and because it's for the viewers to really see, because we're all human beings. We
Mm-hmm.
all have different responses and reactions to what we go through in life. right? So the thing that I want to ask is, why have you not forgiven them?
So, as Mr. Michael speaks every Wednesday, he makes it known that we all have pride, and we let pride take over us. And I know pride is a big one of them. And I haven't forgiven them to hurt them. It's just something in myself. It's just stuff I can't let go of. And, it's just it's something like at night, I tell Zach's mom this all the time. It's like something at night comes around and it's like, you remember that happened to you when you were a kid? Or I see something on TV and I'm like, hey, I used to have that, the nostalgia of all that stuff starts coming back and it's like, oh crap, you know? So it's like I don't know.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, because I fall into that same boat, right? And you know me, I'm a very vulnerable person. So like when you say stuff like that on it's the like, oh, like late nights,
Mhm.
you see something like, oh wow, I used to have that. Well, see, I can get that. I can have that same reaction to y'all two.
Mhm.
You know, anybody who either watches this, they can relate to that, or they can't relate to that. And that, like for me though, like I can relate to that, but on a different level.
Mhm.
Like for you, it's forgiving, your parents. It's forgiving everything that they done, right? And then when that nostalgia comes back from when you was a child, when everything that you see on the TV, TikTok, Facebook, when you see all these things, you're like, I remember that.
A certain smell to certain things just creep back up and they're like, hey, I was here once upon a time.
Oh,
It's
that's
like you
true.
want to go shoe fly. Don't bother me.
No, that's true. And the one thing that she said is true. I do basically shove it at them that we're prideful. We all have pride, and that's something that as Christians we're not supposed to have, right? So I try to install that in them, like, hey, don't be prideful, but be grateful in the Lord, right? So with that, I do hope and I do pray that here soon, here soon, the Holy Spirit convicts you on forgiving them, right? Because we went down that rabbit hole before too.
We're not going down it again.
If the Holy Spirit takes us down there, we
No.
are. But it's just something that I really want you, and even the listeners too. Like if you have pride, or if you're having unforgiveness for someone, please look into the scripture. Look what it says about that. And I just pray for you. I pray for anybody watching this that they take that part serious,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So the next question I wanna hop into is, uh, who who was some of the your biggest supporters during all of this? If it's a big list, name them all. Give them all shout outs.
It's not even that I have to think.
Wow. Okay, so the list is short.
Okay, so let's see. My Granny Kim, she was a really big picture in all of it. She was basically the 911 call of like those people. I would even, when my mom got custody of me, I would even, hey, I want to go to my stepmom's house. I want to go be with my siblings. That's because it was my happy place when I was younger. It started out with my dad, my stepmom, my youngest, my somewhere in between sister and then me, and then it became my other two siblings, and then it became a third sibling. So that was my comfort place because it was somewhere I was familiar with. It was somewhere I knew how I could act, what I could do. I didn't have to act all prim and proper because I grew up with all of them.
Yeah, you was able to be yourself.
Yes.
I got you. I got you.
Yep.
So you have more to that list of your supporters, and I'm not even just talking about like the stuff that you were going through at that time, but like as you got older, because that's trauma.
I mean, Zach was one of a big supporter through all of it. I mean, when me and my mom got in a rough little our big patch, that led down to all the stuff. The first time I called him and I was like, I need you to come get me. And his mom kind of had my back on it too. She told him you need to go get her. that his parents were a really big supporter, of me. They were there. They've given me a place to live because when my mom did kick me out, I was house hopping basically. I went from staying at his house for a little bit because I had nowhere to go and I was in hideout mode because my mom was crazy, and that's the one place she didn't want to come, and I'm not ashamed to say that. That's one place she will not come at all. And then I went to my uh Papa's house with his lovely wife. Um, and it kind of went from there. And then me and his wife got into a little tiff. I came from a bad place, so I was in defense mode. I was in survival mode at that point. Then I moved in with my uncle. I stayed with him for about a year, and then he died on me. So then I went back to live with Zach, and then that's where I'm at now. I'm with Zach.
Okay. So before I go into any other questions, before we get into deeper conversation, this is the disclaimer of this. No, we're not using this as a platform to discriminate her mom or her dad or anybody, right? I don't care. See, my intentions of this video is for those who are going through the same situation as she is. Either that's right now or that's the trauma that's in your past, right? This is a video where you can come and relate, right? You can reach out and either have questions or conversations or anything of that nature. This is a safe place, right? And this is what I kind of forced out on the second interview I did with my two homeboys. Is this right here? Is it's a safe place, safe space for anybody to come talk and all that. And that's just a disclaimer because this is not what I'm using it for to
Dog
trash
anybody.
anybody, dog them down, nothing like that. This is strictly for her to give her. God darn
When you
it!
keep talking, you would have less to edit.
Jesus, we're back. Okay. Okay. So from everything that you've been through, what have you learned? What are some takeaways, and what would you have changed if you could do it over?
Oh boy. Okay, so um ways what I wish I could have changed. Well, I'm gonna start with that first is I wish I could have changed the way me and my mom had a relationship. Men were in the surrounding of that. And I didn't, I wanted my mom. I remember specifically one day, I can't remember when, I know I was little. One day I told my mom she was a stranger to me almost. Her child telling her mother, I feel like you're a stranger. I didn't have that connection with my mom, She was more of it was a love-hate relationship with her for the simple fact of she was in and out, So it's like I didn't get too comfortable with her. Um, and what were the other questions?
It was what have you learned from it?
What I've learned is how I can be a better person. I was given examples of what I don't want to be and how I don't want to act. I was taught a lot of lessons, especially if you put yourself in a situation where you don't feel welcomed or, you're not comfortable. That was a lot of lessons for me. I learned how to have my own voice and speak up for myself. I learned it was okay to say no to things I didn't agree with, I didn't want to do. And I mean, I had a lot of trauma from all that, so it was like, I learned a lot, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's a good takeaway, and for everybody watching, that's also another good takeaway. If you are going through the same situation, is you have a voice no matter what age. You have that voice. You can say no to things that you don't want to do, and and all of that. Just sticking up for yourself.
Not saying disobey your parents, but
No.
if something gets out a little whack, which everybody, Michael and Zach kind of know, you have your voice to say no. No thanks.
Yeah, no, that is the truth. That is the truth. All right. Me Okay. Okay. I like this one. Thanks, Zach. From then to now, how much have you grown in your walk with Christ, and how did it affect your past trauma?
Okay, so I'm still in the process of doing my walk with Christ. I can't say that I'm 100%. I'm not here to lie, so I'm gonna just tell the truth. Um, I'm still learning and I'm still growing up in different churches with different mindsets. It's a lot of confusion, not a little, it's a lot of confusion in there. From growing up in Bellevue Baptist Church to growing up in St. William's Catholic Church to now coming here, it's a lot of religion thrown at you and different perspectives. So I would say my walk of faith, it's getting there. I don't have a person, nothing, it's getting there. How it helps me with my trauma? Not sure yet because forgiving is a big one in that walk in God and faith and all that, and I haven't, you know, I'm still learning.
Well, I do want to say this. It's more than just forgiving,
Yeah.
right? On how Christ can comfort you.
Mhm.
You know, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but this is where it's leading us to the two the two Bible verses, right? I'm gonna test. Do you know them?
I know one of them. I don't know the Matthew, but
All right.
it's First Peter 5:7. Cast all your care upon him, for he cares for you. And then Matthew 11:28. It's something, something, something.
Well, it's Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Yep.
Right. So with the trauma, that's where Christ comes in, right? Because here's the thing: He cares for you.
Mhm.
If He cares for you, then He'll give you rest. So that kind of just puts it right
Yeah.
there, where you're like, okay, He cares for me. He gives me rest. Zach cares for you. He gives you rest. He gives you comfort.
Comfort, yes. Sometimes my last nerve is just a ticket.
Uh huh.
I love him to death.
But just in that aspect, that's what he's also there for as well, is to lead us and guide us and to give us that rest because he cares for us.
Yeah.
So it is more than just forgiving. That forgiving does play a good part because it breaks down that wall. Like for me, I have so many people that, if you watch the last video, shout out, uh you can see that it took a lot for me through the processes of growing my relationship with Christ, that I realized that I had a wall built up between my past trauma and the future that God had for me. And I couldn't go anywhere or grow with my relationship until I broke that trauma, until I broke that wall. And if that's something that you take away just from this interview here, if you taking something away, it's you want your relationship to grow, you know what you have to do,
Mhm.
right? And this goes for anybody else watching. I'm not just talking to her, I'm talking to everybody else. It's just whatever you're going through, whatever that trauma is, and you can't let go, just know that for your relationship with Christ to grow, is you have to let go. That's a bar. So yeah.
Did it.
All right. So this is a good question. A good question. When did you encounter God? Yeah, yeah. When did you encounter God?
So I don't really just have an answer for that.
Okay.
So I would just have to say at church, I haven't felt like a spirit or nothing like that, because like I said, I'm still doing my walk and everything. I'm still learning. So I really just don't have an answer for that, but I would
Mhm.
probably just say in church. I mean, our revival, actually. It's a funny story that we all laugh at now, but his sister, his grandma,
Hi, Sarah.
and Ember, hi Ember, um, they went to go stand in the gap for me because I have this thing where I don't like all the attention on me. I don't like being in front of everybody, and it's just something in myself again. Um, They stood in the gap for me. And then here comes Zach's lovely grandma chewing in my butt. You need to get up there. You need to get up there. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I go up there, and Zach was preaching this night. It was our last night of revival. And yeah, kind of let everything out then and there. But Carrie Underwood lied when she said you could pretty cry, because ain't nothing about me that pretty cries. Yeah, it was the spirit working on me. It was stuff that needed to come out. But yeah.
Okay. So you did kind of just answer that question.
Yeah, I did. It was in church. That I mean, I kind of answered it
Yeah.
short and sweet.
Well, no. It's the truth, and it's a good question to ask because because at first you were like, well, I didn't have one,
Yeah,
but then
it came to
that little
mind.
memory of you letting go and letting God take control over a situation, he came in, showed up, and showed out in your life at that moment,
Hmm.
right? So that would be your first encounter. And the thing is how you responded to the beginning of that. I respect that because a lot of people would have just pulled something out of the blue and be like, man, I was 17, I was down bad, and Jesus came. Yeah, no,
Yeah, no,
people would have lied. I would have lied. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would have. But
I ain't got no shame in my game.
I mean, it's the honesty, and I respect that.
Yeah.
So the few questions that I have, it may just be one because you may just summarize it. For the people that are watching, either they know you or they don't know you, but they're probably going through the same trauma that you've experienced, the same lifestyle that you were going through, or you're probably still going through. I don't know. What advice do you have for them?
Hmm. Um, don't let it affect you. Because I still am learning to let go. Please stop. I'm still learning to let go. It's very hard because it eats you alive, basically. Where you just beat yourself down and yada yada yada, kind of the whole 9 yards of all that stuff. So basically, make it a lesson learned and grow from that. Make yourself a better person, and don't follow the example of what you were shown when you were growing up, and what you saw when you grew up and all that, because it'll either take you down a bad path, and if you got just wonderful parents, no arguments, no nothing, then by all means do go in your own little way. But if you're
Must be
going
nice.
if you're going yeah, right. If you're going through the bad stuff, with your parents, and you see the arguments and you see the abuse and all that, it's just you don't want to follow in that, because then you're just gonna have your resemblance of your parents. You're gonna be like, wow, my mom and dad used to do this.
No. That was good. That was good. So to break the ice a little bit, I got a little question that I came up with. Ah,
What, like mid talk?
no. It was actually when y'all first came in. I was like, I'm gonna ask that question. No. So the question I have is how good of a youth pastor am I?
Michael, why you gotta catch me like that, man? Okay, I mean, you're a pretty decent youth pastor. I mean, I wouldn't
Decent.
10 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10. I'm just
That's a
kidding.
20 out of
I'm
10.
I'm just kidding. You're a very good youth pastor, and you're a very good friend. The only thing, the big disclaimer, the only thing I dislike about him as a youth pastor is he doesn't like my debates.
During service, it
Debates
is
are
not a
okay.
debate. It is a service. You can debate me after, but this is a service.
So debates are really good when it comes to a service, but not during the service, and not when it's. Anyways, all jokes aside, I'm very good at getting sidetracked. Um,
Come on Wednesday night, you'll see.
your question.
Got my question.
Oh, how good of a youth pastor he is. He's a very good youth pastor. You can learn a lot. Um, my first time I met him, he was like some nerdy little kid playing pool. We were at his parents' house, And, he he threatened, he was like, "I could beat you at pool, yada, yada, yada." That was my first time meeting Michael. Just some nerdy little kid hanging around town. And then you get to know more. He's a really cool dude. He l- he has. I've never seen a man before who has a wardrobe that matches a pair of pants, a pair of shoes, a hat, a shirt, a jacket, maybe even socks. We don't know what the socks look like. The socks match too. He's a fashionista. He's got that little feminine side of him of fashionista, but he's a very good youth pastor.
Wow. Just wow. And see, I like this because it's the kind of relationship I want to have with all of the people is that they know I ain't mad at this. I don't care. I know who I am. And yes, I like to match. Gosh darn it. But yeah, nah, calling me a little nerdy white kid is crazy. That's a crazy statement.
It wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny, but that's crazy. That was crazy. Can you believe that, Zach? The man behind the camera? It's crazy. Crazy statement she just said. But
Well,
I
would
mean,
you like me to lie to you and say you were you were, I don't even know, the nerdy kid comes to my mind. You look like the chicken off of Chicken Little.
but I'm bigger than him. Way bigger than him.
So,
He's chicken little, so I'm chicken big. That's what we'll go with. I'm chicken big. I'm big chicken. I'm a big chicken. Ah, God, I gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, so to wrap this up, is there anything that you would like to say or give advice or anything at all? What would you like to end off with? Talk about my clothes. God darn it.
Michael likes the color black and purple. Anyways, I guess what everybody could possibly take from this, not you two because y'all's parents are still together, but um I guess what y'all could take from it is, use the voice that you have, and don't beat yourself up and don't think it's your fault because of the circumstances that you got put in with parents. Um and yeah, just go to church. You'll learn a lot in church, especially if you come to Connect on Wednesday nights. Yeah.
Wednesday night at 6 o'clock.
You'll learn that me and Sarah fight over Dr. Peppers.
Yes. But one thing that I have incorporated uh is to talk a little bit about faith in a funny, nice way. Okay, yes, with all jokes aside, you're a good person. You are. You keep Zach back there happy.
Yep.
Uh, but you do come in, and when you talked about the debates, yes, it's a good way of having a conversation. It's good way to learn,
Mm.
and I applaud you on that because not many people do that. Not many people do. Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. But not many people do that, and I do applaud you for that. And because you never know, maybe with you doing that, it could enlighten, something for the other
It could.
young ladies that we have in here to start doing that.
I mean, it could help. If somebody's in a shy spot, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to say nothing." Then here comes big old Faith talking about, "Well, that ain't true, yada yada yada," or this is what I was taught. Then they're like,
It's a
"Hey,
lot
well,
of that one. This is what I was taught, but we're working on
we
that.
are okay." That's why I said back to the confusion of different not just even related, but different settings in a church. Churches.
It's a different religion, but we're going off of that topic.
Yeah, it is a
So
different religion, but it's different churches. Same whole thing.
sure. But
In
that's all
my
that I
mind,
got.
it was.
That's all that I got. If
Me
you have
too.
anything
Yeah.
else, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Appreciate y'all watching. Go check out the last video of me giving my testimony and my little story. Go watch the other one with my dad, my homeboys, and the man behind the camera named Zach. And then go watch the other ones as well. Give them some love and all that good stuff. But I'm going to holla at y'all. We out.